All right, so business groups have been bracing for this idea that Democrats are taking over in the House of Representatives, and maybe they'll, enact some policies that are not friendly to business, hiking corporate taxes and that kind of thing. But the question is, do Democrats really have the ability or the power to be raising taxes without Republicans? And the answer comes from Charlie Gasparino, and I guess it's, not really, right?
I like the way you say, screw them over. Do they have the ability to screw over business, stop the economic expansion?
That kind of thing.
Put people out of work,
Minor details.
Unfortunately for Nancy Pelosi,
no,
she cannot do that.
Right.
I mean, listen, here's what they could do. And I think this is where markets could get jittery off of this. They're clearly going to hold a lot of hearings. They're going to release the president's tax returns. They're going to investigate Ivanka's private email account. They're going to look at voter suppression in Georgia for the Georgia governor's race. There's no doubt about that. They're going to look at stuff that Mueller's looking at in terms of dealing Russian meddling in the election and dealing on the side with the Trump organization. That's essentially what they're going to go after. What will that do? That will weaken.
Maybe weaken the president.
Weaken the president and maybe shine light on his business dealings and cast him in a negative light.
And of course, the opposite is also possible. It could strengthen him among his base.
Who knows?
That kind of.
Maybe
but it's a political story.
Maybe they don't find out enough, and maybe they make a big thing out of nothing.
Right.
We shall see. That will be a political story, and that will definitely happen. They cannot do anything legislatively. They don't run the president. They don't. Even if you think of it this way, the Republicans gained a couple of seats in the Senate, right?
Yep.
They can push through They can push through judicial nominees, which is theoretically better for the economy. What won't happen is tax reform, too.
Right.
Some bad things could happen, like President Trump and the Democrats agreeing to some crazy cockamamie infrastructure plan.
Yeah, but it won't get through the Senate.
It probably won't get through the Senate.
And that's the thing. I would go back to Blake when he was asking the president about this at that crazy news conference. But that was one of the things of substance that came out of that East Room news conference is Blake Berman got up and asked the president about cutting a deal with the Dems, and the president was open to it. He didn't shut the door. He says, well, maybe higher corporate taxes or higher taxes on quote-unquote rich people in exchange for something else, infrastructure, whatever it might be. But that dies in the House.
You're going to have to get that through, dies in the Senate.
I'm saying it gets through the House and then it's dead there.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's going to, and he's going to be under a lot of pressure for not to raise taxes. I mean, it's hard to run as a Republican on it. I've raised taxes so I can cut a deal with Nancy Pelosi. So I think legislatively there's not much they can do. Again, they can obstruct. They can, they're not going to. There won't be tax reform part 2. But they can't do much. The real thing, and I'll tell you, the markets will trade off on this stuff. Real thing is what they uncover about the Trump organization's dealings with Russia, stuff like that. If there's any funny business there, and remember, Devin Nunes is different than Adam Schiff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? So that's where this thing could get crazy.
But what's a market event? It's something that endangers the presidency.
Right. If the Democrats come up with something and you have this independent counsel that's still going, Democrats control the Judiciary Committees and Maxine Waters at Financial Services and whatnot. They could add fuel to they can essentially take anything Mueller says and reinvestigate it.
True, but they have a political risk themselves. Unless they have something huge, they could push too far, and then there's backlash on their end.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a tightrope. We should point out that the Democrats did pick up close to 40 seats, 38 seats. Yeah. They lost Republicans lost a key constituency in suburban women. So the Democrats have some wind at their back. Now, do they overplay their hand? I mean, probably. And the other thing is that the other thing I think the president has going for him, in a sense, politically, is that the Democratic Party is so far to the left right now that you could just show them. I mean, you could actually say, do you want the progressive left that is created havoc wherever they go, college campuses, you name it. You really want that running.
Well, this president is better politically, or does better, when he's got somebody or something to run against, and now he does. He's got Nancy Pelosi, he's got the Democrats, and whoever emerges as his opponent. I mean, they're far left
but the existential threat is Mueller. Remember that. That's still coming. That's still out there, and we'll see what he has.
By the way, you brought up Ivanka's emails. There was some criticism of that from Republicans I saw as well. So is this a story that has legs, or what's your take?
I don't know. I mean, listen, was Ivanka dealing in highly sensitive classified information is the real question. I don't think so.
Right.
I think the bigger problem with Ivanka and Jared in the White House is that they shouldn't be there. I mean, it's just optically to have family members. I mean, this is the problem that President Trump has. He never really divorced himself from his business, right? So he's still dealing with his business. His kids are running the business. He hasn't divested. He's got his son-in-law and daughter who also have business interests in the White House. That sets. I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong, and we haven't read anything that they've done anything particularly illegal. Maybe, fishy, but not illegal.
You mean in business?
Yeah,
right.
But that opens the door for massive amounts of investigation.
Now that the Dems have the
think
House.
about it.
Right.
I mean, you got people with business interests in the White House. The president never divorced himself from his business interests. Just superficially, they have a way into investigating him. Again, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. We haven't seen it.
Right.
But I'm telling you, that was he made a mistake not divesting himself, I think.
It doesn't seem like either one of them are going anywhere, though. Either Jared or
no.
Ivanka,
one thing I know about Donald Trump is when he ran his business, his kids all had offices up there in Trump Tower. They were all he ran the show. But, he trusts family members very much so, and he brought them to the White House.
All right, Charlie. Good to see you. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Very good. How about you? By the way, the
Very
president actually called me.
Is that right?
It was with a friend of mine.
Talk about burying the lead.
No, sorry about that. For once, I had my phone down, but on Thanksgiving night, I had my phone down, and the president was with a friend of mine and called me from Mar-a-Lago.
Is that right? Yes. Compliment all your.
We know each other for a long time, and I personally like him a lot.
Very good.
So that doesn't mean I'll always call balls and strikes. You know me.
You're out. So that's all you can tell us about that. I don't want to.
We never spoke.
Oh.
For once, I had my phone down, and we couldn't.
You got the phone. You never put your phone on. It was on Thanksgiving.
But it was Thanksgiving night. It was like
that's good.
It was like at 10:30, 9:30, 10. I just drove back from Long Island. It was with in-laws. I was tired, and I was just sitting there watching something. And then before I went back to sleep. Before I went to sleep, I looked at my phone, and I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" And then I got a text from a friend of mine. Goes, "That's the president calling you," and it was
unbelievable.
It was a block.
One time you have your phone down, sitting there watching Cavuto reruns on the.
That's it. But who wouldn't watch Cavuto reruns before bed?
Well, keep your phone. That's a good lesson. Keep the phone near you. Thank you, Charlie.
All right.
Man, misses the call.